who are you and where are you from?
I'm TJ.
And I'm Mark, and we're from Humboldt County in California.
And where are we now?
We're currently in Miranda, which is the closest civilization to our ranch, which is behind State Park.
And what do you do on the ranch?
Whatever has to be done. We have some cows, and we have some trees that we cut for firewood, and we have some trees that we cut for timber, and then maintenance. We're also currently doing a grant project which is going to have a shaded fuel break between us and Humboldt Redwood State Park in case of fire, future fire.
Wow. And we are on the Avenue of the
Avenue of the
Giants.
Giants. We're right in the middle of it. This is about the halfway point.
And what has the climate changed at all since you were kids?
I think certainly my awareness of the climate. As a kid, it seemed like things were more predictable, if that makes sense. And now they seem more chaotic.
And I would second that. I would have said yes, absolutely, because I hear more and more stories about it. And I can see some things that are different. But I'm also aware that in this greatest snowpack year on record that we're having, the comparison year is 1952. I wasn't born yet, and that is also a similar snowpack year. So I would say that the swings in the weather are definitely getting bigger, and the things that the scientists tell us they're measuring are changing. Don't know. Weather's always different every year. It's always the topic of conversation. We live outside.
And so you haven't seen a lot of big changes, though.
So when we've only been living in this part of the state of California for about 20 years, and when we first came up here, the rains were more predictable. That by every beginning of September, we get enough rain to start the grass again, and we would typically get more than 100 inches of rain per year. We've had years since then in a row that the rains don't come soon enough, so grass doesn't start till after Thanksgiving or December. It's awful cold then, we don't get grass for the cattle. We notice these little things, but also the total inches of rain are half or less than our typical years when we first moved here.
But I wonder also, like, weather has big swings over time. So, I mean, scientists tell me that there's climate change, and I think I can see it, but then I also, like he said, I sometimes wonder, maybe it has to do with the big scope of things. I'm not zooming out far enough. I don't know.
As a lifetime cycle, we're definitely seeing changes in the weather. And as a science nerd, I think that there's measurable things that could be related to that, but I also know that some of the fossil records or even tree ring records show big changes back and forth in a few hundred years. So, I don't know.
And so, on an everyday basis, do you worry about climate? And if so, where on a scale of, say, 1 to 10, 10 being the most concerned, where would you put yourselves?
1 sec. I do think about climate. I would say, it's above a 5 for sure, a 6 or a 7. And for me, it's seriously it's kind of silly, but it's about our cattle. And it's about, like, will we get the fall rain so that they have enough grass all winter, or will we not? And I also think about forest fire. I mean, that has become, in the past, there wouldn't be forest fires in Humboldt County. We are green,
too green and wet.
We are wet. But now, yes, there are forest fires. So these are two areas that I do think about and worry about.
A fire over 1 million acres 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I worry about it also, and I worry about it on a scale outside of my life, things that my life touches. But I can see enough things that are personal to me that, yeah, I would give it higher than a 5 also. We have a son who's currently living in Florida, and his decision is going to be to leave Florida because he said, I either want to live on the beach or I want to be in a state that's got mountains. So, and he says that I'm worried about living on the beach. Anything beachfront in Florida is susceptible to waves and storms. And that's a bit of a climate-driven thing.
And then, that leads into the last question. And what about the future? Are you optimists or pessimists? And is there anything we can do about it?
I am more of a pessimist. That's just my nature. And I just see that, let's there's money involved, people are not going to change. And I don't know if we can change the trajectory of the climate. We missed the window, I think. And I have grandkids, and I worry about the future for them, for sure.
My only and I'm naturally very optimistic, so this is an easy swing between the two of us. But I would say that my only swing towards pessimism or lean towards pessimism is the part that perhaps the tipping point is big enough that it will take us time to right the ship. I do see, like she said, that as a culture, as humanity, we're driven by profits and ease, but when the Department of Defense says their biggest worry is climate change, when large corporations start making investment and or when they'll make changes because of climate change or predictions about climate change, we're turning. It's just going to take time, and I think we can solve the basic issues when we decide together as not society, as a species, that we're willing to make some changes. We do make those changes.
That's a good point. I mean, maybe we can innovate our way out of it. I hope so.
We'll see.
Very good. Here in Miranda, California, on the, what is this, the 29th?
Of March.
29th of March, almost April Fool's Day.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.